We're in Luke chapter 12, and we're going to continue our story. What's happened is Jesus has told a parable about a rich man who had abundance, and he says, I got to build bigger barns, man. My barns won't hold this. And he built bigger barns and bigger barns. And then God said to that man, you fool, your soul is required of you. And who's going to spend your bigger barns now? Not you. Others will have it. And he's saying, and so at the end of that, verse 21, we're going to pick up right now. This is the next phrase. So is the man. So is the man. Referring to the barn guy. So is the man who stores up treasure for himself and is not rich towards God. And he said to his disciples, for this reason, now remember, he said to his disciples, so who's he talking to? He's talking to, this started with him saying, it says he's talking mainly to his disciples, and he tells these stories. And now it says again, and he said to his disciples. I think Luke wants you to know who he's talking to. So, he's talking to his disciples. And he says, for this reason I say to you, do not worry about your life as to what you will eat, nor for your body as to what you will put on. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap. They have no storeroom nor barn, and yet God feeds them. How much more valuable you are than the birds. And which of you, by worrying, can add a single hour to his lifespan? If then you cannot do even a very little thing, why do you worry about the other matters? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. But I tell you that even Solomon in all his glory clothed himself like one of these. But if God has so clothed the grass in the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the furnace, how much more will he clothe you, you men of little faith? And do not seek what you will eat and what you will drink, and do not keep worrying, for all these things the nations of the world eagerly seek. But your Father knows that you need these things. But seek his kingdom, and these things will be added to you. Do not be afraid, little flock, for your Father has chosen gladly to give you the kingdom. He has chosen gladly to give you the kingdom. Now, most of this is very self-explanatory. About the grass and the birds, he goes in to use this example like, isn't it obvious? But all of this following the parable of the barns. And he says, so it is with people who trust in riches other than God, storing up riches on earth instead of storing up riches, treasures in heaven. Now, this is a common theme for Jesus, and it's a common theme for the apostles to talk about the difference between storing up treasures on earth and storing up treasures in heaven. And it comes down to this seeking first the kingdom. It's kind of interesting. He talks about, what does he say? He says, for this reason I say, do not worry about what? Your life. That's something we tend to do. Well, do not worry about what you'll eat. Now that's something. My popping is bothering her. So, Lord bless her. Do not worry about what you shall eat. Well, that's something we do. Look up here. Look up here. About what you'll eat. Okay? Do not worry about your body. But we do worry about our body, don't we? Now, do not worry about your life. And he says life is more than your body or what you'll eat or what you'll wear, isn't it? Life is more than these things. And yet here you're attending a church that partners with a gym, a yogurt shop, and a clothing boutique. Because that's how you make money to preach the gospel, is to provide people with these things. But where are your treasures? Why are you doing it? Now, life is more than these things. So can you have these things? Well, it just promised you in verse 29 that if you seek, if you seek the kingdom first, you'll get all these things. But what he's talking about is don't worry about these things. These are not something to fret about. These are not something to make decisions about. These are not something to hoard and store up for. to make sure you have. And I think that most of us are a little bit on the guilty side of worrying about what we wear, what we eat, where we'll live, our life, and our body. And I think that this is a common thread for us, that this is what we get up in the morning and spend all day concerned with, are these things. And he's saying, don't worry about these. And he says, this is the way the world works. I was looking at, well, so how do we work this? What do we do? This is what we do, is we are concerned with all of these things. And yet Jesus very clearly is telling us that God's going to call your soul home, and he's going to demand of it and call you a fool. He says, so is the man who's like this. And yet I say, this is the struggle of my life, to not be like this. And I think that what I see with my eyes in the Christian world is this is what the Christian world is preaching, perpetuating, causing. We're a nation divided against itself. We are a people that aren't on one page about this. If you want to sell fear, you go to the church. You want to sell life insurance, that you better have life insurance or your family won't be able to eat, have a place to live. If you want to sell anything to worry about the future, you do it at churches. And here's why. It said it in here. There's this word seek, right? There's a word seek, and it's used in two different forms in this story. And I decided to look it up because these definitions are so important. What does he mean by these things? And in verse 30, he says, for all these things the nations of the world eagerly seek. And he's naming, worry about your life, worry about your food, worry about your body, and worry about your clothes. And the nations of the world eagerly seek to get you worried about these things. The world system is about making you worry about these things. And Jesus is saying, the person who worries about these things is not storing up treasures in heaven. He's storing up treasures on earth. The person who takes these things and seeks these things before God, before he seeks the kingdom, is the one who is buying into the world system, which is eagerly getting you to seek these things. That's what the word seeks in that verse. That's what the word seek means in that verse 30. But all the other times the word seek is used in these verses, it means to plot and to plan, to desire, to endeavor, to be eager about these. And he's saying to do those things, to be eager about it, to plot and to plan for success, to desire passionately, and to endeavor with all of your heart the kingdom of heaven. That's what that word seek means. So there's two words in here translated in English, seek. One is the world eagerly desiring you to crave. It says crave and demand. It craves and demands that you feel this way. And that's every commercial. Listen to a medicine commercial on your television. This may cause your head to fall off, your ears to droop, it may cause paralysis in your toes. It goes on and on and on and on. Just trying to get you afraid. It's demanding that you fear. It's demanding that you seek something other than the kingdom of God to meet all your needs and solve all your problems. But Jesus is using the word seek for the kingdom to be to plot and to plan, to use intelligence, to use heart, to use desire, to plot and to plan. So, I just told you we're a church that partners with a gym, an ice cream shop, or a yogurt shop, and a clothing boutique to try to pay the bills, to try to pay for young people to be able to be in ministry, to preach the gospel and to seek the kingdom. And we use those things for this purpose. We use their fears, we use their desires, their wants, and what they're willing to pay for to take that money and use it to preach the kingdom of heaven. We divert the world, the wealth of the wicked stored up for us to come and spend on our yogurt, to spend on our clothes, and to spend on their bodies. And we use it to build this building, for instance. This building was extended by the money made from those buildings so that we could get more people to come and preach the gospel to them and for them to go and preach the gospels to others. Are you following me in this? Are you tracking what I'm saying now? I'm a preacher standing in front of you with incredible abundance of property. And so I look at this, the treasures on earth, and I say, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. So I want to daily, continually examine my heart about why do we own so much? Well, the question can only be answered by this verse. Seek his kingdom, and these things will be added to you. I've had a huge amount of stuff added to me. I know several people in the crowd who, the first time they came to my house, got mad. They thought the church had bought this for me. Well, it hadn't. Vicki and I are the only people of a church this size that I know of that don't take a salary to pastor the church, because we want to be able to stand in front of you and tell you that the possessions of our life came to us because in the first 10 years of our ministry, we were poorer than you can believe. This woman was coupon queen of the earth, and we got by on nothing. But we sought first the kingdom of heaven, and these things started to be added to us. And I said, oh, these are seductive. The world is craving for me to be like this. The world desires that I'm like this. The world is so passionate that you're like this. And so that you get possessions and you have to say, wait a minute, am I big enough to own these? Is the quality of my desire to seek the kingdom big enough to overcome the craving demand of the world that I be seduced by this? What about me? Will these possessions make me trust in them, or will I continue to trust in him? Well, that is totally dependent on our daily decisions. And we have daily decisions, let me tell you, where we'll just start talking and going, if we only did this, we'd be set for life. Oh, wait a minute. Did we just give in to the demand of the world to be set for life? Time out. Let's get rid of everything if that's going to happen to us. Time out. What about leaving our children an inheritance? Well, we constantly have to. That's great. That'd feel so good. But it's not ours. They don't earn it by being our children. It's his. They get what he leaves to them, not what we leave to them. And it's hard. Trust me. We have been entrusted with a great deal. Now we have to ask ourselves, what do we do? Now I make this all about me today because I don't want to make it all about you. I could point to many people in the crowd who have great and say, what do you do with yours? But that's not what I would ever do. And my wife's skin is crawling when I make it about us. But I must do this. It's the choice we have to make of, do you seek the kingdom first? Then you can look at it and say, yeah, these things were added to me because I sought the kingdom first. But I'm not immune to it. When my house burnt down, I can't tell you how many valuable things, my favorite guitar, they say, well, I have a really nice, no, I don't. Oh, I have, no, it burnt, and everything burnt with it. I walked up to the property at 2 a.m. one night. We obviously were evacuated. I snuck up the hill, got in because I wanted to see, I have to see it. And I looked at this hole in the ground that used to be my house and it was still smoldering. And I had this incredible encounter with the Lord. First it was, oh no, how did you let this happen to me? And I realized I'm that guy given into the craving worries of the world. I'm following their passion for me to be controlled by this. And I said, no, time out. Time out. It only took me 20 seconds or less to say, no, this was your house. You could have protected this house and you didn't, so this is your will for my life. What do we do from here? I felt like, whoa, I had won the lottery. I couldn't be happier if I had won the lottery. Wouldn't have made me any happier than to walk up to every possession, every Little League video, every childhood thing, all of the things, personal items that were in that house, and instead of mourning over their loss, to take in 20 seconds to say, no, time out. This was your house. This belonged to you, not me. And I just want to thank you for the time you gave me to possess this. Now what? Where do we go from here? He clearly said to me, you rebuild. I said, yes, sir. I will build you a house here. And I went home and told my wife, and I felt like I'd won the freaking lottery because I did not get seduced. But I'm not telling you I'm over it. No. Even yesterday, thinking about, well, if I sold my house, I'd have this much money, and then we could travel the world. No, it's not mine to spend. It's not mine to do that, to make that decision. I will seek the kingdom, and by seeking the kingdom, he will let me have all these things. But when I have all these things, I must stay submitted to Jesus. We must stay. We are as susceptible to the seduction of the seeking, what is it? The world, the nations of the world eagerly seek, demand, crave to destroy me with possession, to destroy you with worry about what you'll eat, what you'll drink, what you'll wear, your body, your life, constant coming at you, your children being safe, your children prospering, all of these things, that they will never suffer what you suffered. They'll never have hardships and it's like, that's what the world's teaching. That's not what Jesus is teaching. Trust in me. The whole subject today is trust in him. The world's trying to tell you that you're a victim of everything. When my house burned down, had 10 different news outlets trying to talk to me. They were filming me. They're following me around, just waiting for that moment when I would break and say, this is so horrible. But I didn't. A girl sat up down by the gym and she took an hour and a half to try to get me to say I'm miserable. And I just wouldn't say it. I wasn't miserable. I wasn't faking in any way, shape, or form. I was like shocked and I was like, well, I'm looking forward to the adventure. I walk with God and I don't know what adventure he has. We're going forward. She got mad. She said, they're never going to let me play this unless you act like this hurts you. And what she was really saying, unless you act like a victim. So they followed me home and they were videoing me and filming me. And they kept, come on, don't you feel bad about anything? And I said in the middle of this, I must have talked for an hour. And I said, answering their questions for an hour, I said, here's what I said. This is the total of what I said. I do feel bad for my neighbors. And then they were done. They were packing it up. I thought they put their cameras away. So I went out into the burn and I saw something. I reached down, lifted up, looked under and said, oh, that's nothing, and put it down. I left. Well, what was on TV that night? Me lifting the thing up and them saying, Mr. Orsillo sifting through the ashes of his life. And the only, I talked forever, and the only thing they said was, I do feel bad. They cut out for my neighbors. I do feel bad. That's all they played. My whole interview, I must have spent 10 hours being interviewed over that week, and only one thing I got to say. Later on, a Sacramento station actually let me talk, and what was fun was people from Sacramento that know me saw me and found me through that interview. But that was the only interview they ever let me talk on. And because I wouldn't say, I'm so terrified, I'm miserable. I wouldn't say it. I just wasn't true. Because I had sought the Lord, and the possessions I had accumulated were for the kingdom. And I want to manage them for the kingdom. And I want to stay pure in this. And I want to give all to the Lord. Everything I've ever accumulated was the talent he gave me. Excuse me. It was the values he gave me, the abilities he gave me, the people he sent me. That's how I succeeded in life, was collecting the people he sent me. Some of them came to me miserable, like suicidal. And today they're not. And there's huge value. And I end up benefiting from it. But that's because if you seek first the kingdom of heaven, these things get added to you. Listen to the things that have been added to me. The most faithful human beings I've ever known in my life are all in my life today. That was added to me. The most trustworthy people I've ever known are surrounding me. The most loving people, most love I've ever experienced in my life has been through that fire and beyond. I mean, it goes on to worse things happen to me after that fire. And what's been added to me has been this richness of human love and human service and laying your life down and giving. And it's just been the most miraculous. I wouldn't trade my life for anybody else's life. Bill Gates can have his mess. I want what I've got because it's what God gave me. It was fashioned for me from seeking his kingdom. I wouldn't trade my marriage for anybody's, my kids for anybody's. Well, maybe. No, that was a joke. My grandkids, I just have a richness. I have a richness that is impossible to describe in a 25-minute sermon. Because we determined, no, the throne of our life will be Jesus first. I will put you second, Vicky, and she has to say whether she'll put me second. But I will put you second, Vicky, and I will put Nicole and her siblings next, and I will put you all next, and I will try with all of my heart to come after that. And I will seek first the kingdom and the way he wants my throne of my life to be. And all the things that are added to me are promised right here. It's okay for me to have them as long as they don't own me and I don't fall into the craving, demanding nature of ownership. I have a family, I have a business. I'm a father now, I have responsibility. No, I don't. I have one responsibility, and that is to make him first. To pursue him first. One responsibility. And even if it takes my life away, so be it. My life doesn't belong to me anyway. And that's what he's talking about. Don't worry about these things. Look, lilies are taken care of. Birds are taken care of. What are you doing that for? No, seek him and all these things. All the eating, drinking, clothing, body, life, it'll all be blessed by him. You'll be as blessed as nature. He takes care of it without any effort. He'll take care of you. You're worth way more than nature. And the possessions of your life, you don't have to apologize for them as long as you don't fall into that type of seek, that craving, demand, that the world demand that you be afraid that you'd ever go without, that you wouldn't be taken care of. In the church, the economy crashes, the church's offerings go down. When the economy crashes, Christian church, worldwide, the offering should go up because we all know if I give more, that'll work out better for me instead of I've got to start gathering so that I'm taken care of. You hearing me? So I know we're a little bit broken because every time the economy changes, our offerings go down. We aren't understanding what Jesus is teaching. My best hope for being taken care of tomorrow is that I push it to the Lord. Put myself in a position where if you don't come through, I'm doomed. But I got to tell you, I've never been doomed in my life because I always try to seek him first. And that's what I'm calling from you. Put yourself in a position to seek the Lord first. And your body, your life, your care, your provision will depend on him. And I promise you, depend on him, you're going to be like Miles Kelly, diving off the couch. You're going to be caught. Now, maybe it's a lot easier to say than do, but it is the intention of a Christian life. It is the philosophy of Christianity, that all that I have is yours. Amen? Seek first his kingdom, and these things will be added unto you. Your health, everything. Your life. Pretty good. Pretty stinking good stuff. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. Let's bow our heads and close our eyes. Where are you at in this story? Are you the man with the barns? Are you the person whose throne's in order? Or maybe somewhere in between. Maybe the worries of this world. have overcome you. The Lord has given me so many visions for the Father's House Church, and so many we can't do. And when I ask him, he says, oh no, I have provided, and people won't trust me. We could do all of these things if people would trust me. And I always say the same thing, Lord, give it to me. You can trust me. I'll get her done. But he wants to trust you. Let's get her done. And if you have some conviction in your heart, you have some conviction in your life, whether you're listening online or you're here today, you have something in your life that you need to look and say, I need to trust the Lord better. Because the whole story is about trusting him. Is he worthy of your trust? Can you trust in him to take care of you? I can. I will. And I want to better. All of the above. If you find yourself in that position, maybe the Lord's calling you to repent, turn, change. Ask him. Say, Lord. Come on, say, Lord. Come on, say, Lord. Are you challenging me to change? So just wait for him. Just wait for him. I hear this loud and clear answer. I hope you can hear it. It was like resounding, almost like thunder. Come on, say, Lord, are you challenging me to change? Are you asking something of me? Now say this very dangerous prayer. Ask me and I will. That wasn't as loud as the rest. Ask me and I will. That's right. Now wait on the Lord. Oh, hear his voice. Hear his challenge. Oh, he's knocking. Will you open the door to him? Will you seek him and find him? Will you? Come on. Come on to the altar. Seek the Lord. Come. Altars are open. Come to the Lord. Seek him and find him. Jamie, let's worship the Lord. Let's seek him on your own. You don't need me to lead you in this. You have conviction in your heart. Seek him and you'll find him. Worship the Lord. Thank you, Max. Seek him and find him.
Thanks for watching the Father's House Orville YouTube channel, but don't stop there. We'd love you to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a live service or a video. Help us spread the message of Jesus by sharing this video with your friends. You can also support the Father's House financially by clicking the Give button. Thanks again for watching today, and we hope to see you again soon.